Ruskin Bond, a living legend in the world of literature. He wrote his first short story, Untouchable, at the age 16 and has been writing memorable fiction ever since. His first novel, The Room on the Roof, written when he was 17. Since then, he has written several novels, essays, poems, children books. He has also written over 500 short stories and articles that have appeared in magazines and anthologies. He received the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992, the Padma Shri in 1999, and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. Ruskin Bond writes straight from the heart. He is at his best when writing about all that he cares for: his adopted family, his friends, his writing, the mountains, roads, rivers, and small towns that are all a part of the India he loves. Ruskin Bond, a resident of Missouri, is now one of the country's most loved and known writers of fact and fiction. His classics like A Face in the Dark, The Kite Maker, The Tunnel, The Room of Many Colors, Dust on the Mountain, Time Stops at Shamli is must have for any bookshelf. Most importantly, the Indian academic syllabus is incomplete without his writings. Today, I am going to narrate his own thoughts through his prolific essay, Joyfully I Write. I write. I'm a fortunate person. For over 50 years, I have been able to make a living by doing what I enjoy most: writing. Sometimes I wonder if I have written too much. One gets into the habit of serving up the same ideas over and over again, with a different sauce perhaps, but still the same ideas, themes, memories, characters. Writers are often chided for repeating themselves. Artists and musicians are given more latitude. No one criticizes Turner for painting so many sunsets at sea, or Gauguin for giving us all those lovely Tahitian women, or Hussein for treating us to so many horses, or Jamini Roy for giving us so many identical stylized figures. In the world of music, one Puccini opera is very like another. A chopping nocturne will return to familiar themes, and in the realm of lighter, modern music, the same melodies recur with only slight variations. But authors are often taken to task for repeating themselves. They cannot help this, for in their writing, they are expressing their personalities. Hemingway's words is very different from Jane Austen's. They are both unique words, but they do not change or mutate in the minds of their author creators. Jane Austen spent all her life in one small place and portrayed the people she knew. Hemingway roamed the world, but his characters remained much the same, usually extension of himself. In the course of a long writing career, it is inevitable that a writer will occasionally repeat himself or return to themes that have remained with him even as new ideas and formulations enter his mind. The important thing is to keep writing, observing, listening, and paying attention to the beauty of words and their arrangement. And like artists and musicians, the more we work on our art, the better it will be. Writing for me is the simplest and greatest pleasure in the world. Putting a mood or an idea into words is an occupation I truly love. I plan my day so that there is time in it for writing a poem or a paragraph or an essay or part of a story or longer work. Not just because writing is my profession, but from a feeling of delight. The world around me, be it the mountains or the busy street below my window, is teeming with subjects, sights, thoughts that I wish to put into words in order to catch the fleeting moment, the passing image, the laughter, the joy, and sometimes the sorrow. Life would be intolerable if I did not have this freedom to write every day. Not that everything I put down is worth preserving. A great many pages of manuscripts have found their way into my waste paper basket or into the stove that warms the family room on cold winter evenings. I do not always please myself. I cannot always please others because, unlike the hard professionals, the Forsyths and the Seldons, I am not writing to please everyone. I'm really writing to please myself. My theory of writing is that the conception should be as clear as possible, and that words should flow like a stream of clear water, preferably a mountain stream. You will, of course, encounter boulders, but you will learn to go over them on or around them so that your flow is unimpeded. If your stream gets too sluggish or muddy, it is better to put aside that particular piece of writing. Go to the source, go to the spring, where the water is purest. Your thoughts as clear as the mountain air. I do not write for more than an hour or two in the course of the day. Too long at the desk and words lose their freshness. Together with clarity and a good vocabulary, there must come a certain elevation of mood. Stane must have been bubbling over with high spirits when he wrote Shandy. The somber intensity of Wuthering Heights reflects Emily Bronte's passion for life, fully knowing that it was to be brief. Again, Tagore's melancholy comes through in his poetry. Dickens is always passionate. There were no half measures in his work. Conrad's prose takes on the moods of the sea he knew and loved. A real physical emotion accompanies the process of writing, and great writers are those who can channel this emotion into the creation of their best work. Are you a serious writer? One day, a schoolboy asked me. Well, I try to be serious, I said, but cheerfulness keeps breaking in. Can a cheerful writer be taken seriously? I don't know, but I was certainly serious about making writing the main occupation of my life. In order to do this, one has to give up many things: a job, security, comfort, domesticity, or rather the pursuit of these things. Had I married when I was 25, I would not have been able to throw up a good job as easily as I did at the time. I might now be living on a pension. God forbid. I'm grateful for continued independence and the necessity to keep writing for my living, and for those who share their lives with me and whose joys and sorrows are mine too. An artist must not lose his hold on life. We do that when we settle for the safety of a comfortable old age. Normally, writers do not talk much because they're saving their conversation for the readers of their books, those invisible listeners with whom we wish to strike a sympathetic chord. Of course, we talk freely with our friends, but we are reserved with people we do not know very well. If I talk too freely about a story I'm going to write, chances are it will never be written. I have talked it to death. Being alone is vital for any creative writer. I do not mean that you must live the life of a recluse. People who do not know me are frequently under the impression that I live in lonely splendor on a mountain top, whereas in reality I share a small flat with a family of 12, and I am the 12th man, occasionally bringing out refreshments for the players. I love my extended family, every single individual in it. But as a writer, I must sometimes get a little time to be alone with my own thoughts, reflect a little, talk to myself, laugh about all the blunders I have committed in the past and ponder over the future. This is contemplation, not meditation. I'm not very good at meditation as it involves remaining in passive state for some time. I would rather be out walking, observing the natural world, or sitting under a tree contemplating my novel or navel. I suppose the latter is a form of meditation. When I casually told the journalist that I plan to write a book consisting of my meditations, he reported that I was writing a book on meditation per se, which gave it a different connotation. I shall go along with the simple dictionary meaning of the verb meditate: to plan mentally, to exercise the mind in contemplation. So I was doing it all along. I'm not by nature a gregarious person, although I love people and have often made friends with complete strangers. I'm also a lover of solitude. Naturally, one thinks better when one is alone, but I prefer walking alone to walking with others. That ladybird on the wild rose would escape my attention if I was engaged in lively conversation with a companion. Not that the ladybird is going to change my life, but by acknowledging its presence, stopping to admire its beauty, I have paid obeisance to the natural scheme of things of which I am only a small part. It is upon a person's power of holding fast to such undimmed beauty that his or her inner hopefulness depends. As we journey through the world, we must inevitably encounter meanness and selfishness. As we fight for our survival, the higher visions and ideals often fade. It is then that we need ladybirds, contemplating the tiny creatures or the flower on which it rests gives one of hope better the certainty that there is more to life than interest rates, dividends, market forces, and infinite technology. As a writer, I have known hope and despair, success and failure, some recognition, but also long periods of neglect and critical dismissal. But I have had no regrets. I have enjoyed the writer's life to the full. And one reason for this that living in India has given me certain freedoms which I would not have enjoyed elsewhere. Friendship when needed, solitude when desired, even at times love and passion. It has tolerated me for what I am, a bit of a dropout, unconventional, idiosyncratic. I have been left alone to do my own thing. In India, people do not censure you unless you start making a nuisance of yourself. Society has its norms and its orthodoxies, and provided you do not flaunt all the rules, society will allow you to go your own way. I am free to become a naked aesthetic and roam the streets with a begging bowl. I am also free to live in a palatial farmhouse if I have the wherewithal. For 25 years, I have lived in this small, sunny second floor room looking out on the mountains, and no one has bothered me. Unless you count the neighbor's dog who prevents the postman and courier boys from coming up the steps. I may write for myself, but as I also write to get published, it must follow that I write for others too. Only a handful of readers might enjoy my writing, but they are my soulmates, my alter egos, and they keep me going through those lean times and discouraging me moments. Even though I depend upon my writing for a livelihood, it is still for me the most delightful thing in the world. I did not set out to make a fortune from writing. I knew I was not that kind of writer, but it was the thing I did best, and I preserved with the exercise of my gift, cultivating the more discriminating editors, publishers, and readers, never really expecting huge rewards, but accepting whatever came my way. Happiness is a matter of temperament rather than circumstance. And I have always considered myself fortunate in having escaped the tedium of a 9 to 5 job or some other form of drudgery. Of course, there comes a time when almost every author asks himself what is the effort and output really amounts to. We expect our work to influence people, to affect a great many readers, when in fact its impact is infinitesimal. Those who work on a large scale must feel discouraged by the world's indifference. That is why I am happy to give a little innocent pleasure to a handful of readers. This is a reward worth having. As a writer, I have difficulty in doing justice to momentous events, the wars of nations, the politics of power. I am more at ease with the dew of the morning, the sensuous delights of the day, the silent blessings of the night, the joys and the sorrows of children, the strivings of our ordinary folk, and of course the ridiculous situation in which we sometimes find ourselves. We cannot prevent sorrow and pain and tragedy. And yet, when we look around us, we find that the majority of people are actually enjoying life. There are so many lovely things to see. There is so much to do, so much fun to be had, and so many charming and interesting people to meet. How can I my pen ever run dry? Thank you.